Coming up on this week's Collegian Report, we'll update you on the new way to get your student tickets.
And I'll have your weekend forecast coming up.
And I'll have a preview of what's coming up in Jackrabbit Sports. The Collegian Report starts now.
Welcome back to the Collegian Report. I'm Kyla Anvick.
And I'm Annie Witt. Changes are coming to the names of some offices you know on campus. 4 offices will merge to create the Student Engagement Center, the Office of Multicultural Affairs and Accessibility, International Affairs, Veterans Affairs, and the American Indian Student Center. Shelley Bayer, who is currently the director of OMA, will lead the new center. Officials say the new structure should be in place by October 1st. The change is to help align SDSU with federal guidelines. For more information about the center, visit the story on sdsucollegian.com.
SDSU has a new system for students wanting to attend football games. Starting this year, students now have to claim tickets online prior to the game. Previously, students could present their ID to get in. Some have mixed reactions after the first 2 games.
I see both sides a little bit, how they want us to not overcrowd, I guess, and they have a more accurate number for their stats and stuff. But I think it takes away from them actually wanting us there because they're limiting us a little bit.
The next football game is next Saturday at 2 p.m. Student tickets will be available starting at 9 a.m. on Monday.
Students got to show off their talents at the Jack's Got Talent auditions. Over 11 students showed up last Wednesday, September 17th. UPC Events Coordinator Nicole Ball says she loves to see all of the different talents that students bring to the table.
We've seen a whole bunch of different talents come through. We had people doing singing numbers, we had people dancing. Last year we had people who did these light orbs that was simulating fire, dancing, twirling.
The show is on October 7th at 6 p.m. in the Larson Memorial Concert Hall. Tickets are $6 for students and $8 for the public. Coming up, LSD Fodder joins us to tell us how future producers are learning about farm safety.
Plus, Jacob Rundy will preview this weekend in sports.
In the South Dakota Army National Guard, you'll be part of a modern, relevant, and ready force. You'll train locally to master the equipment used to assist and rebuild our communities after natural disasters. You'll become a leader and a member of a team. If you're looking for adventure, it's waiting for you in the South Dakota Army National Guard. To learn more about serving your community part-time, visit nationalguard.com/SB.
Welcome back. I'm LSD Fodder with your Jackrabbit Ag Report. As harvest season approaches, many agriculture students will return to the farm to help. Throughout the year, students and their families spend long hours with heavy machinery. Here on campus, one club is bringing awareness to staying safe on the farm. During a presentation, the Emergency Medical Services Club shared facts about farm safety. In 2022 alone, workers in ag, forestry, and hunting had one of the highest fatal injury rates. There's an average of 18.6 deaths per 100,000 full-time workers. That's compared to other industries, which have only 3.7 deaths on average. To learn how to respond to emergencies, students practice with medical mannequins. Club President Avery Lewison says he hopes students learn several things about being safe on the farm.
Usually isn't fun getting injured, so people don't want to have to deal with that. They want to keep themselves safe and just avoid those issues. And then some of the important stuff, so if something bad does happen, people are able to do proper things to help prevent that injury or scenario, whatever, get from going to worse.
97% of farms in America are owned and operated by families. Coming up next week is National Farm Safety and Health Week. This year's theme reminds everyone on the farm, safety first, avoid the worst. A new $1.2 million transient animal facility is being built on the west side of campus.
And so the purpose of a transient animal facility is to temporarily house animals that are transient. They're coming to campus and then they're going to be leaving within a matter of days or months.
These animals used to be held in an old cow-calf facility. The building was destroyed by a dray show in 2022. The Dean of Cafes, Joseph Cassidy, says he's excited for the opportunities the barn will provide.
It's designed to support our hands-on learning experience that we provide primarily to animal science majors, but of course there are students majoring in other areas that do take animal science classes, or maybe they're getting a minor in animal science. They will benefit from these facilities. Many students participate in Little International. They will benefit from these facilities as we can house the pigs that are used for Little International in the new facility. Possibly sheep or goats that are used for Little International could be housed there.
This project has been in the works for 3 years. The facility is expected to be complete in time for the spring semester. Yeah, it's been really nice this semester that they've had such good weather to work on the building. I'm sure that's made it go a lot faster.
And we're supposed to get more of that nice weather this weekend. Here's Emily DeCock with the weather.
Yeah, it's looking really beautiful this weekend, Kyla. Today you'll see a high of 71 with partly sunny skies. Tonight we'll get down to the mid-50s, and there's a slight chance of rain and possible thunderstorms later into the night. Saturday will be partly sunny with highs around 75 and a low around 57. We'll have more of the same Sunday with mostly sunny skies and a high near 79. At night we'll cool down again to the mid-50s. That's all I have for this weekend. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Emily. It looks like it's also going to be a great weekend for Jackrabbit sports.
Yeah, last weekend was pretty busy. It's not going to be as busy as it was then, but it's still going to be a fun slate of games this upcoming weekend. So football last weekend beat Drake 37-21 in a game of firsts for 7 Jackrabbits. Julius Lawridge and Alex Bullock both scored their first touchdowns as Jackrabbits. Julius Lawridge scored 2 touchdowns that game, so technically it was his first multi-touchdown game as well. James Bassinger and Corey Blair Jr. both scored their first career touchdowns. Noah Thompson had his first career interception. Ryan Harrington, his first ever career field goal, and Jack Smith had his first career reception. SDSU was down early in that game, but took back the lead in the first quarter, didn't really look back. Xavier Washington, the starting quarterback for Drake, got injured pretty early on. SDSU was down early, 7-0, but took back the lead and didn't really look back. This weekend is a bye week. Next weekend, though, they'll be hosting Mercyhurst out of Erie, Pennsylvania. Mercyhurst being 1-2 on the year. They play Montana State tomorrow. The Jacks will be hosting that game 2 p.m. next Saturday. On to soccer. They're a little bit past the halfway point this year after their last game with Wyoming. They also played Northern Colorado earlier this week. With Northern Colorado, it was a bit of a hectic game. There was a rain/lightning delay that stopped the game for an hour. However, after that delay, things really started to kick up. Both teams jumped out of the gates and both scored a goal. So it was 2-2 before SDSU scored 4 goals in a row. This was after Northern Colorado got a red card after a tripping penalty, cutting their lineup down to 10 players instead of the usual 11. And you could just, the difference was very apparent after that. 4 goals in a row, a pretty big deal. Northern Colorado did get an additional goal at the 81 mark to make the score 6-3, but it was pretty inconsequential up at that point. Yesterday, they also wrapped up their non-conference play against Wyoming. They won that game 2-0. Wyoming middleback Peyton Hurst puts it off of her head and into her own net for a Jackrabbit goal. That was one of the 2 goals of the game. The Yellow and Blue advanced to 6-1-3 on the year. They host St. Thomas next Thursday to kick off league play. SDSU volleyball now has a 5-2 record after going 2-1 at the Diet Coke Classic. They swept both Dayton and the University of South Florida before losing 3-1 to the hosting University of Minnesota. Head coach Dan Georgalis says he is proud of the start to the season.
You know, so far through the first 3 weeks, we've got wins against the Mountain West Conference, the Big Ten Conference, the SEC Conference, the AAC, the A10. I'm ecstatic. I'm super happy. Now we got to turn a page and stay humble.
The Jacks will be hosting Boise State this Friday and Saturday. The Broncos are coming off the Boise State Invitational where they went 3-0. So they have some momentum going into this game. Game 1 starts at 6 p.m. at First Bank and Trust Arena. Game 2 starts at noon. This Friday game is also a blackout. The Jackrabbit men's basketball team released its non-conference schedule last week. SDSU tips off their regular season November 3rd with Merrimack at the Sanford Pentagon. They will travel to Oregon to take on the Ducks in Eugene on November 12th, and the Jacks will return to the Pentagon for a matchup with Wyoming on December 15th. The women's basketball team has also released its non-conference slate. SDSU will take on Murray State in a big mid-major matchup on November 11th. They will travel to Rapid City to host the Montana Grizzlies on November 15th, and the Jacks will also host Gonzaga at the Sanford Pentagon on November 20th. For the full schedule for both teams, you can visit gojacks.com. So volleyball is going to be the main event this weekend. Boise State is a pretty comparable team, so it should be a pretty good game.
Sounds like it'll be an exciting matchup. Looking for something fun to do in the middle of your week? Spikeball Club has open play on Wednesdays. The club started in the fall of 2023. Club president Kyle Maher says they are open to anyone who wants to play.
We are super open to anyone that wants to learn how to play the game. We also have quite a few members that are willing to teach how to be more mechanically sound.
Spikeball is a 2-on-2 game similar to volleyball, but instead of over the net, you hit the ball at the net on the ground.
Between you and your partner, you have 3 touches to get it back onto the net, and then from there, the opposing team does the same thing.
The club meets on Wednesday evenings, 5:30 at Sexauer Field. For more information on Spikeball Club, you can visit Jack's Club Hub. That's all for the Collegian Report this week.
You can stay up to date on the latest news online at sdsucollegiate.com or on our social media at SDSU Collegiate Media.
Thanks for watching.